Say welcome to everyone who's here today. Yeah, hope you're doing well. And I always think like the fact that you just chose to come here is yeah, no small choice. And it's good to even notice like, well, what brought you here? I feel like there's got to be some kernel of wisdom, that brings us here. Like this this is, you know, going to be helpful in some way. Um, but there's a lot to learn. I always say, the moment we start to meditate, that we remember, like, this is work. This is actually, we're here to do some work in this undertaking of kind of training ourselves. Um, but doing this with great care and love. And I want to just say that right away here in the beginning, is just to notice how easy it is to fall into self-criticism or judgment. And can we do this with a light touch? Okay. So the first thing that we usually do is just a grounding. We call it just like a arriving here. We don't really call it meditation yet. So it's like, okay, I'm about to meditate. So first, just gonna practice arriving here. So you could start by finding or noticing just the position of your body, if you need to reposition in any way, so that, yeah, there's this relative feeling of maybe effort, just that bit of uprightness, or that you could just be here for a while. You might close your eyes, or you can keep your eyes open. It kind of doesn't matter. And you could take in the sound of the bell. So we could start with just, we could call it open awareness. We're just interested in noticing what's happening right now. I'm going to practice stopping. Yeah, almost like a kind of hitting a pause button, where it's like the mind can just kind of relax. We don't have to toil away and work so hard to figure everything out. So you might notice your mood or your attitude, or just how does your body feel today? And really, just like, you would ask a friend, like, how are you? And we listen closely. So we listen to the body just by feeling it. We could all agree, probably, like, wow, having a body is difficult. Being at being at ease or it's kind of accepting, how the body is today. This can be challenging. There is this kind of a almost a sweetness of the honesty. Like, this is how my body is today. I don't need to turn it into a problem. I'm just gonna feel what's on your mind. Probably a list of kind of unresolved stuff. And if we really kind of open our awareness, like, we might see, there's things maybe in your life that feel like they're going your way, you know. And then things we might feel like, oh, this isn't going my way, or this is hard. And we do, like, there's always those two we're just aware of. Even playing with the sense of gratitude that you're here. Just feel the earth, feel this, whatever is touching the floor or whatever you're sitting on. Just, I'm grounding. What does it feel like to stop? Like a pleasantness of I'm practicing moving into this stillness. Allow the stopping. And we know this is wise. Like, if you've ever been on a journey or just, outside, that you know the wisdom of stopping and just taking in everything around you, not needing to get anywhere else. Put down wanting. Oh, so much that we want. Oh, this grounding, this is important. So we have this kind of bare attention. What are you sensing, feeling? Do you have a lot of energy, or is there a feeling of being tired? And you just notice, oh, this is how it is right now. Like if your mind is jumpy and bouncy, it's like, oh, but there's the feeling of grounding. Almost like a tree, trees don't move about, but the roots grow deep. In that way, the deep sensing, feeling into this moment. Noticing there's sometimes just called phenomena that's rising and passing, this, whether it's sounds or a thought that comes in and you watch it pass by. The rhythm of the breath. Even sense the heart beating. Feeling of being alive. So it's one of the, when we share some of the teachings, it's like, um, here's what we can run into kind of as an almost like an obstacle or kind of common experiences as we're like trying to meditate. Um, and like I mentioned, we sometimes get caught up in how, yeah, there can be almost like a disappointment of like, this should be easier by now. With this amount of practice, I should be better at this. Or, um, and we can do this in many ways in our life. Um, I would just lately, so this year I will be in like married for 20 years. And I just laugh because there's things like we're still really learning about how to live our lives together. And I can feel surprised, like, gosh, you think I know this after 20 years? Or you think we would have perfected this? We would have complete peace and harmony. Um, but it's the very nature of, oh, right, things change and we grow. And this growth is important. And when things change and grow, um, there's, we need, like, everything kind of shifts awareness and how we relate and to appreciate uh, this impermanence in a way. It's almost like we want to get something and for it to be, I want to have it. I want to know and, yeah, feel like I'm a good meditator, like I'm master, now, of course, what can happen over time is we learn about the nature of the mind. And so every time we sit, though, it's important that there's this fresh, almost the feeling of curiosity, the sometimes called not knowing mind. And so even though, we've had maybe many experiences, which we can bring that in, it's important to have this, what is called that beginner's mind. And that can be helpful in so many ways, with people who we think that we know them, and that can just lead to a lot of pain and suffering. And to keep it really fresh, there's just something about kind of playing with this teaching around the circling back to some of the very first instructions, because when we circle back to them, and I often hear this even when I like teach yoga classes, is like someone might tell me like, you've given us this instruction 100 times, but today, like I think I really felt it or understood it. So it's important to just keep exploring the depth of whether it's, so it's important when we're practicing that we do have a way that we're practicing that we know, okay, as I'm sitting, Like when my mind wanders, oh, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring my awareness to this. So the mind, we kind of give the mind something that it is doing. But whatever it's doing is in the present moment. And so we know that's why people often watch their breath, because it's right here. It can't be anywhere else. It's like, oh, I feel this inhale. And I feel this exhale. Like when I'm feeling the exhale, I can't jump forward to my inhale. Like it's keeping me right here. So what is it then that you have as your anchor? So you keep coming back. And it's not that the breath is fascinating or enlightening, but it's a technique that helps you to stay here. And we get this sustained experience of not being distracted and not being caught up in our usual web of thinking. When we get caught up in that web of thinking, it's almost like you could think of it, it's usually called like we're creating or giving birth to another world. It's like I'm leaving reality and I'm going to make this up instead. And it can feel, sometimes it feels good. Like if there's something about this world, right, this reality right here that I don't like, I can fantasize about it being another way, and that world feels comfortable. I like that way. So that's the nature of the mind, is to create a world, which, guess what? It's a dead end. It's going to lead nowhere. And it's very stressful then, because like we kind of open our eyes like, oh gosh, I'm still in this world. So again and again, we move into the way that things are right now. And I know that this is like, it's difficult to have that, like that kind of bare honesty. But this is what we explore, and then we just see what happens. Well, this actually, like, it's not a dead end. We open up and we practice being at ease, being at peace with how things are. So let's practice. Again, aware of just, however you're sitting. Sometimes you might shift a little bit, or observe the grounding feeling. And again, taking in the sound of the bell. So we're practicing settling. You might have your own technique, or what it is kind of a self-soothing. This works for me to kind of release tension and relax. You might just bring awareness to your lips. Okay, that's doable. I can soften my lips. Or inside of your mouth. And the space around your throat. And the throat. We let go of any tension or harsh quality in the throat. So if this helps, this just physical, it can be really small, these little ways that like you soften your eyelids. Bring awareness right down to your belly. Can you feel in your belly? This way that we can soften, little by little softening in the belly. So it might feel like that mind quality where you're just kind of witnessing or watching. And what happens when you say, like, I'm practicing letting go of tension? And even knowing, like, this will benefit everyone. The mind is bright and interested. What does this feel like, this letting go of tension? So this stillness, this way of being aware of the body, like almost has that energy of a friendship. I mean, it's true where we might feel like, yeah, being a friendship with my body, like, oh, it just feels too late for that. Our relationship with our body can be really complex. But right now, we just come back to the beginning. Like, wow, it's not too late. Like, right in this moment, I can just be with my body. Feel this, what it feels like to be alive. And it is good to, of course, choose for yourself, like, well, what seems suitable of what you bring awareness to. The feeling of the waves of breath. Even watching the mind, what that little conveyor belt of thoughts. Oh, this thought comes in and it passes. You might notice, or you could generate a feeling of being kind and understanding. These aren't things we need to think about. So what would it feel like in your body? A felt sense of a kind presence. So even in your own way, you could just take a moment and just kind of reflecting on um, what you noticed today, what you learned today. This being with things as they are and being at ease. This can be one of the hardest things we ever do, really. So it's not a small undertaking.